So first question, how do you reflect on the first two games then? What have you liked from the team so far and where are the areas for improvement?
I think I like the progression we've made from the opening game of the season into the midweek game. There's obviously elements of the game that we expected to be better against Harrogate, and we showed a real progression, if you like, then leading into the whole game. So it displays the appetite of the players and the willingness to learn and keep improving from their point of view. And we were pleased with the performance that came on Tuesday, which then effectively gives you a better chance of getting a result.
Is it good for George to get a couple of early goals this season?
Yeah, I think you speak to anyone across the front line, they'd want to get goals and want to get going. So yeah, really pleased for George to get a couple of goals. Not too sure how much he knew about the second one, but you've got to be in the right spot to get them, haven't you? So pleased for him. Stay the width of the post and you've always got a chance of scoring.
Is it going to be a case, Cliff, in this sort of first month where there is going to need to be a bit of time for everything to gel together? Because there's been so much change, hasn't there, this summer?
Yeah, there's been a lot of change and probably a shift in that dynamic, how we want the team to play, and there's been new personnel introduced into the football club and then into the team. So I think naturally it can take time, but you know, with the work that we've done in pre-season, we want to try and accelerate that. We brought a lot of signings in early, so you know, as a management staff, you hope them performances come quick and fast, but at times you've got to be patient and allow the group to evolve and grow as well. So we want to try and get the balance right.
Did you show against Hull as well a tactical flexibility that you could use to your advantage this season? And does it indicate that maybe yourself and Grant are going to mix things up sometimes this season?
Yeah, I think every game is different, has its own merits for different reasons. I think the framework of how we want to play will remain, the style how we want to play and what we ask of the players. But rightly so, sometimes you've got to have them tweaks, and that tweak worked in our favour on Tuesday night. So you know, it's up to us as a staff to sort of observe the game and then hopefully implement what we think we can do to the opposition.
It was a slightly different role for Luke Molyneux. How do you think he worked alongside Miller up front?
Yeah, Mols was just playing just in behind him, if you like, but he's got the capability to play right across that front line, Luke. I've known Luke a long time, stretching back to when I was at Sunderland as a coach, and he was there coming through. So he's got the qualities, as have some of the other forwards. But on the night, we just felt it was an opportunity to get in between the opposition's back line in the midfield, and Luke was very productive on the night as well with the balls that he did receive. So it's one thing getting into position, but you then got to execute it while you're in there. And you know, we played his part in the goal, in our first goal on the night.
What did you make of the draw, Everton, in the next round?
Yeah, it's an exciting draw. You know, you're not come away from that. You know, one for the fans, one for the players, one for the staff all around the football club. So it's exciting. But you know, the main focus this week is the league, the draw, and the cup game will take care of itself when it comes round. So we're fully focused on the game in hand coming up.
I think I read that there's been 32 minutes of stoppage time so far, and it's kind of the big talking point in football, isn't it, about the way that the game's changed with all of this. What's your perspective on it all, Cliff?
I think it's a new challenge. It's whether it remains for forever and throughout the season. Historically, rules are being introduced in the Football League and the Premier League and tends to dapper off after 6-7 weeks. I don't think it's going to be the case with these new introductions. What it effectively means is every 4.5 games, you're playing an extra game. So this season's not 46 games anymore. It's going to be closer to 56. So us as staff and the performance team and the medical team have to address that accordingly. So it is strange when you see double figures going up on the 90-minute mark. You're thinking, oh, here we go. So, but it's another challenge for us to face as a staff, and you know, more importantly, the players, because they're the ones that you're trying to keep fresh and fit and available, and to go out there and put performances in that the fans can be proud of and can get behind and support. So as long as we can keep maintaining that.
When you look at the results in the first game for League Two, there were some really surprising score lines there, including your own. I think many people would have expected a different score there, but you look at other games where there were some eyebrow-raising results. Do you think that's just the first game and, it's just that first weekend and it can conjure up some surprises? Or do you think it will be an unpredictable division this year?
Listen, you're probably waiting until around the 10-game mark to start seeing who's getting a bit of fluency. But, any one-off game, it's 11 against 11. Some teams have new personnel that are trying to integrate into the team. Expectations vary right across the league. So there's a number of external factors that can influence that, never mind the internal ones. So, I wouldn't be, the eyebrows are raised at some of the results that you come across, but you can dismiss them because the teams are rolling into the midweek games. Some of them bounce back from them results and we'll look to bounce on for the rest of the season. So it's, I think it just demonstrates that, if you're not at any given match day, that you're going to come unstuck.
Newport had a tough start in the league, but they bounced back with a decent cup win. What can you expect from them?
I think they'll be competitive. I've known Graham over the years and him as a manager, him as a coach, and I'd expect that to mirror in his team. So it'll be a difficult place to go for sure. They'll be competitive, and they went away, come unstuck on the away game, and then bounce back with a home win. So it'll be a challenging place to go for sure.
And in terms of injury news, is there anything to report ahead of the game?
No, there's nothing really changed from what was the squad that we had midweek. So no major concerns there.
How do weeks like this work, Cliff, the busy weeks? Because you've had your Tuesday match. As far as your messages go, can you get them on the grass, the players, and get it into them that way? Or is it more verbal?
I think over the recent seasons, when you do have these busy schedules, because, Saturday, Tuesday, you can have a couple of weeks. I think you've got to find other ways. We can do a lot of stuff, in the classroom, if you like, on the screen, on the tactics board. And like I said to Rob, the appetite of this group is really good. So the willingness to learn and listen and try and absorb what you're saying is strong and good. So you can't always ask them to be out on the grass. Yes, we were out on the grass nearly every day this week, but you've got to limit the times that you're out there and try and keep the freshness for when the games come around. So it is something that we do take into account when we plan ahead and we see the schedules coming up. But it's nothing new. The only thing new this year is that you're playing maybe an extra 20 minutes each game.
And as far as Graham goes, I know you both Dublin chaps as well. How well do you know one another? I know there's a few years between you, but I wasn't sure if you were quite familiar with each other.
Yeah, no, listen, we're familiar with us across the football situation and come across and played against them, on the pitch and when we've been in separate dugouts as well. So, he's a hell of a character and a top bloke as well. So it's... But I'm sure we'll shake hands before the game and we'll shake hands after the game. While the game's on, we'll both be to and from to try and get the 3 points.
You alluded to it with Rob, but do you feel that obviously Tuesday was really, really encouraging? Do you think it's starting to click, or is it still too early to say?
Yeah, no, listen, I don't want to dampen any high spirits or anything like that. It's when we've got I don't want to keep going back saying that we've got a new group. There's quite a lot of lads here from last season, but there's different demands on them from the management team, different expectations. And, we saw really progressive signs on Tuesday. And, it's their job then to keep pushing them and challenging the players and creating that environment for them to keep progressing and developing themselves to give us the best chance of performing on a match day.
This round, yourself and Grant have been joined by two coaches. I believe it was just the two of you last time round. How does that division of labour work now? Do you take care of specific positions, or is it done a different way? Yeah,
I think it's about sharing the workload across the coaching staff. If you look across a squad of, I don't know, let's say 20 plus players, there's 20 plus different personalities, and then personalities can gravitate towards different like-minded coaches that are on the training field, and we've got a real good knowledge within the building and a real good expertise amongst the coaching staff. So, we feel it's be hugely beneficial to help the players improve individually and then collectively as a team. So the workload is good during the week, and it keeps the freshness on the training ground.
Just on the injury front, Liam Ravenhill's dad, Ricky, has said that he's ruptured his ACL. Can you give us a bit more information on that, please, Cliff?
Yeah, he's had the injury picked up in a game against Huddersfield. So listen, it's really unfortunate. It's really unfortunate for Liam. We're gutted for him, but you know, it's part and parcel of football. No one really likes to pick up them types of injuries, but we'll get right behind them and around them and support them going forward. It'll be a process, but we'll give him all the support he needs.
Yeah, Ricky mentioned it could be up to a year. Is that a timescale that the club are looking at as well? Yeah,
well, there hasn't been anything defiant on that, because we've got to get the specialist opinion, and that particular injury, you know, I'm not overly qualified to speak about it, but I think you've got to settle down and then allow the specialist to have another look and get another scan on it. So, listen, we're hopeful it's going to be less than that, but historically, them type of injuries have keeping you out for that period of time.
Just on a couple more players, will Carl Hurst travel? Has he got a chance of being involved tomorrow?
Yeah, Hurst has got a chance. Yeah, he's got a chance. So that's pleasing from our point of view.
And final couple from me, Tom Anderson and John Taylor. I know that Grant was sort of resting them and dipping them in and out because of the nature of their injuries. Are they both coping okay?
Yeah, they're doing well. They're doing well. Obviously, you've seen Tom performed on Tuesday night, and John obviously performed the previous Saturday. So yeah, no, it's been good. It's been real positive for the group.
You mentioned early on when you were speaking to Rob about the fact that a lot of the lads, although it's a relatively new group, a lot of the lads did come in quite early on in the window. There wasn't too many last-minute additions. Have you sort of felt that you've been reaping the benefits of that already in terms of everything settling down a little bit quicker than it perhaps is at other clubs?
Yeah, well, we can only look from our point of view, and the manager made a real plan early on to get our recruits in as early as possible. And you know, even if you come away from the football side of it, Tom, externally, you know, where are they going to live, where are they going to relocate, settle into the areas, and building relationships with the players, the staff around the training ground. There's a great number of factors, and we're really pleased that we can get them in as early as we can. And we hope over the course of the season we will settle quick and get into a really good rhythm as a team. So, but only time will tell.
Yeah, great stuff. And obviously you touched on the cup win through the week as well. And obviously after a defeat on the opening weekend, obviously it was great in terms of getting to the next round of the cup. But, you know, how much of a lift was that for going into this weekend and being able to go into the game, you know, on the back of a win?
I think on the back of any win, whether it's league or cup, it's always positive, and we get a positive reaction within the group and externally from the fans and the supporters. So it's, I think it was important, the performance that we produced, as much as anything, because we were disappointed with the level of performance at Harrogate. So to see the improvement, and that was good, and that's sort of where we look to keep striving for, improve them performances. And you know, we've got a great belief in that the more you perform, the more chance you have of getting the result at the end of the game. So that's the drive for us.